Hey guys, right here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my RV here. And so last week I posted a video where I ripped out my 12-volt lead acid battery out of this, and I put a 48-volt battery in here, lithium, and I put a power system as well. And I've really liked that system, the system I have here, but today I'm going to be making extra upgrades. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's get started. Okay guys, so here is the 48-volt battery I have installed. Here is the solar charge controller. It's also the inverter, and it's also AC charger. It's kind of got everything built in. This is the main power system that will be providing 120 volts power to my RV wherever I go camping, anywhere. I'll always have power. And also I'm going to use this system as a backup power source for the critical appliances in my house. If you want to see a full install of this, then I'll put a link in the description of the video here. Here are the solar panels I recently installed. I've got another video in the description of the install of these solar panels, why I use these brackets, and how I did the wiring. It's kind of tricky to get all the wires up underneath there secure, but if you want to see that video, I'll leave a link in the description. So those solar panels on the roof are in one large string, and they come in here and hook into this combiner box. This combiner box is optional, but I like using it as an emergency for my house, just in case the power goes out. So if the power goes out and it's stormy, cloudy conditions, and I still want power, I can easily make a ground array using these dirt cheap solar panels, 50 bucks each. And I can plug these solar panels into these extra slots. I could have one extra string, another extra string, another extra string. You could have like 20, 24 panels hooked into this power system. So if power goes out and there's a storm overhead, I can still be collecting power in shady conditions to power the critical appliances in my house. Here's our garden. We just got this in. But let's get to the upgrades of this. I'll put everything in chapters so you can skip ahead if you want. Okay guys, so the first upgrade I'm going to make to this system is I'm going to add some external plugs. So when I go camping with my friends, they don't need to bring their generators. They can just plug right into my RV and have power. I should be able to run 2 RV air conditioners, as long as they each have a single air conditioner, and I'll just have these as 30 amp plugs. So right now the AC comes right out of this bottom of this Growatt system. This is a 3048 ES model. So I'm going to need some conduit that comes down here, and I'm going to also have a plug inside this little console here where I can plug my RV into. Let's go ahead and put the plugs in. I'm going to have 2 external 30 amp RV plugs on the outside of my RV, and inside the RV cubby I'm going to have one 30 amp RV plug. That's going to be for my RV specifically. So I'm going to have all these parts in the links. Get all this stuff from Amazon, I believe. So first I've got a 4-gain electrical box, 2 RV plugs. This is going to be the inside of the RV. The inside of the RV compartment, and it'll point outside, and from the outside I'm going to have these boxes right here you can open up and plug into, and then you're going to need 1/2-inch conduit, and this is a conduit connection. It's going to hook right here, it's going to hook right here, and then this is going to come in to this box right here. These are all going to be daisy chained together with 10-gauge wire. I'm going to need some conduit glue for these connections. I'm going to need a knife for cutting the conduit. I'll need a screwdriver for screwing down the connections right here. You'll also need a wire stripper. And then this 1/2-inch conduit connection is going to hook underneath my Growatt. And this is where all the AC power is going to come from. Let's wire it all together. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, I think we got the outlets all hooked up. Comes in there, kind of dirty in here, sorry. And I had my ground and my live reversed. So that could have been bad, but I caught that luckily. But all these other connections, I watched the videos. I watched the video and it looks like they're all good. So let's try it out. Check these out. So cool. So since they're all daisy chained together, that's hooked to all the wires are hooked into that one, and then they're hooked into this one, and then they're hooked into this one last. So if there's any bad connections, I will know right now. Okay, here's my shore power plug for my RV. Okay, let's turn power back onto this. Guess we don't need, I'll keep the solar off. So oops, I had unplugged this little Lego in order to get some extra room to wire that. So I've got to plug this back in. There we go. That should be better. It beeps for a little bit while it tries to establish communication with the battery. There we go. All right, inverter is showing 0 volts output, so that should switch to 120 shortly. There we go. .87 kilowatts. I love this thing. Okay, now it's time to hardwire the shore power. I'll show you what I was doing before. So before, when we were pulled off on the side of the road and we wanted to watch a movie or something on a long trip, I'd have to take this shore power plug, pull it out all the way around, all over here, and then I'd have to plug it in here, and then I could use the microwave, and then I could watch movies on a DVD player and whatnot. It's kind of annoying having to do that every time it wanted 120 volt power. And I lost tons of the footage of this, but I can explain it, I think. So basically I pulled the shore power plug all the way out as far as it could go. Then I pulled my electrical panel out and I disconnected the shore power plug where it hooks into this electrical panel. Totally disconnected it. And then from there, I was able to fully remove it from the RV. So all I had was the little the 3 pigtails. And then I took those, and then I brought them the little end pigtails, and I shoved them right down here, and they literally pulled it underneath my trailer. I pulled it out here. Oh, that was so dirty under here. I pulled the pigtails and I ran the RV shore power plug. I ran it all the way to the back over there. And there's already an electrical run of cords. I just bundled them with this set of cords. I ran it all the way to the end, those pigtails. Let's see if I can get under here. And then I took my shore power plug, ran it straight up there, right through the bottom of the RV where some existing wires had already gone through. And then I pulled that plug up here and I wired that plug up right to where it was before. So it was wired in the exact same way. And then up here, I'm able to plug it in right here. Now that I have this fancy new plug. And so I'm going to have 120 volts all the time. Whenever I'm driving, camping, all I have to do is flip this switch, turn on the inverter. But when I go camping, I'm just going to have this on all the time. So it's not really hardwired, but it's just going to stay there permanently plugged in right there. Now, as far as battery management, this is my Victron Smart Shunt. It's kind of expensive. There's another one about half the price, and it looks exactly the same. It might be exactly the same. I'm going to buy one of those and test it out. You connect this side to the battery, and this side, this to the battery minus, and this side to your system. So wherever you were hooking up to your negative terminal on your battery, you now hook up here. So all the power will flow through this shunt. You can see it on an app on your phone with Bluetooth. Oh yeah, and then this wire, this goes to your positive side on the positive of the battery. So I think I'm actually gonna just mount this right here, hook this to the negative battery terminal. Here's where it hooked to the negative before, but now it's gonna hook right there. And then this is going to the converter box. So this is going to power all my 12 volt appliances. That's just going to hook right there. So that should work. Let's try it out. Okay, time to turn it on. I'll download the app here. Okay, here it is. I had this set up earlier for another project, but it looks like if you look at that's the voltage. Next item down is current, and then right now with the inverter idling, it's using 50 watts of power, and then that's some. Looks like I have 1 day. No, that doesn't seem right. I think those bottom two numbers are a little slightly off, but I'm using 50 watts of power. It's going to be kind of hard to like show you the screen on my phone and record on my phone at the same time, but I'll switch to the app and I'm going to start the microwave. Okay, I'll just start it. I'll start the microwave for 10 seconds. You can see the power using almost 1600 watts with the microwave running. Okay, just stopped. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the solar power and that should supply power to the battery. Okay, I just turned on the solar. Should take a little bit before it starts to recognize all the solar panels with the charge controller. Using 0 watts. Now positive 300 watts, 400 watts, 500. Okay, 1,000 watts of power coming in right now with solar. Looks like 19 amps to the battery. I like the trends. You can see right now I'm in positive, almost 1,000 watts positive. If we go back, we can see where we use the microwave. You can zoom out and you can see like your entire day or your entire week's worth of data. So I love this app. I love this thing. It's really cool. Really cool data. Yeah, I definitely get this. So before I installed this app, I thought I could run my air conditioner for 5 hours straight. That's because I was looking at my Growatt inverter and it was showing my air conditioner was using 1,000 watts of power. But that didn't account for my air conditioning blower motor, which runs on the 12 volt system. It runs whenever I run the air conditioner or the furnace. The blower motor uses 500 watts of 12 volt power. The nice thing about this app is it records all the draw from the battery, whether it's from the 12 volt system or from the inverter. Alright, I think I just have to make a couple more changes and I think I'm going to have the perfect system. If my friend starts his microwave and I start my microwave at the same time, I'm going to be drawing too much power and my system's actually going to shut down. So there's this setting to auto restart when an overload occurs. By default it doesn't auto restart, but I want it to auto restart for me, for my case. Then I won't have to go climb under my RV and push the reset button. Next thing I need to do is enable reserve power. Right now I am communicating with my BMS using this LI battery setting. Number 5, menu option 5. This will actually shut the system down if I ever get to 20% battery life. I was bothered by that at first, but now I kind of like that setting because it means I always have a reserve tank ready to be used. So I can just change my battery setting to this user defined, and then I can drain the battery down to 0 if I ever want to. It'll be nice to always have this extra battery reserve if I ever need it. Now the next thing I wanted to check was my ground neutral bond. In the United States we have a ground neutral bond that's bonded usually in the breaker box of your house. Or if I plug into shore power, there's a breaker box there that has a ground neutral bond. But in my case, I'm not going to be plugging into shore power. I'm going to be plugging into my Growatt. So I wanted to make sure my Growatt has a ground neutral bond for safety reasons. So I used my meter and I tested the ground neutral bond there, and there was a ground neutral bond, so that's good. And one thing you have to verify also is that the ground neutral bond doesn't have a lot of resistance. Sometimes it'll show continuity there, but there's a lot of resistance. It has to be a really good ground neutral bond. The old version of the Growatt I had wouldn't run my furnace, and I wasn't sure why, and that was because I didn't have a ground neutral bond in that unit, possibly by design. But after doing some research, I found out I needed to make the ground neutral bond, and then my furnace ran. Some circuit boards on newer furnaces check for a ground neutral bond before they can even start up and run. So one extra safety precaution I wanted to upgrade was these clips. These are not very safe. It's kind of protect you from touching the terminal. So even though this is 48 volt and in the United States it's considered safe low voltage, it's not as safe as 12 volts. I would hate to have a kid climb in here with, salty hands, wet hands, and touch these terminals. I don't know, that might give a shock. So I'm going to put this on. These clips never really hold that well. I'm going to put this on and I'm going to add some tape right here just to make sure, just to give it some extra protection. I'm not sure how what you need to get shocked with these, but I'm going to try and make sure it's safe as possible. So can't touch that positive end, and in here it's all protected. You can't grab in there. So it's getting kind of late. I'm still trying to work through how I'm going to plug this RV into my house so I can save power on my electric bill. That'll be for a future video. Let me know if you want me to try anything, what else I should try. But thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps somebody. See ya.